Okay, we're good now.
Woo. Third time the charm.
I know. You'd think I had the magic touch by now.
Are we good?
Yes, we are.
I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. First item of business, I'd like to get a motion by title only. Motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. No discussion? All in favor? Aye. First item of business is, excuse me, appropriation ordinance 2025. Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amending the annual operating budget and numbers and compensation ordinance 2024-61 for calendar year 2025 for Marion County, Arkansas. Transfer unappropriated funds from 2003 additional motor fuel tax fund for payment of installation of concrete culverts on low water slab on County Road, Marion County, 4010. May I get a motion? May I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, please.
In the header, fuel is misspelled.
Oh, I see that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this gonna be part of the stuff that's reimbursed?
Yes, this is part of that FEMA.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is, I think, on Patton Cemetery Road, in East Washington.
The, just a point of knowledge, 2003 is a state-funded fund that, and it's specifically for roads, that sort of stuff. It can't be used for anything else.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. No opposed. Appropriation ordinance 2025, be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, amendment to the annual operating budget and numbers and compensation ordinance 2024-61 for calendar year 2025 for Marion County, Arkansas, to transfer funds from the American Rescue Plan Fund 3046 to ARPA Revenue Replacement County Judge Fund 1000-0100. The total amount will be $6,576.99. May I get a motion? No. May I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, please. I'm learning that I need to ask questions, because otherwise I get kind of confused or.
No problem.
So, tell me what this is for.
Okay, so at the end of 2024, we had to have our ARPA money obligated,
Right.
and we were able to do that. But I think there was some, and our funds were kind of all messed up with how much was supposed to be in 1006 and 3046. We had some outstanding checks, and just the checks going out at the end of the year and beginning of the next year, I think things kind of got a little out of whack. So when I talked to the legislative auditor, because we thought we got it all worked out, and then realized we probably got outstanding checks there that made it out of whack. So I explained it to him, showed him everything I had, and he says, yes, you can do it by ordinance. And we were only off about that much. That's what we were showing that we had.
So we're just moving money from one account to another
Yes.
to cover the deficit.
Yes, because that will put our ARPA funds exactly where they need to be. That's what should be in those budgeted funds.
Okay.
And I think there's only like 9 left that we're dealing with out of the 30.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? Final appropriation ordinance for the evening, appropriation ordinance 2025. Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amending the annual operating budget and numbers and compensation ordinance 2024-61 for calendar year 2025 for Marion County, Arkansas. Transfer unappropriated funds from 1,000 county general to 1,000 period 0119 county general reimbursables for the return of dividends from AAC Workers' Compensation Trust Board of Trustees based upon 2021 premium year. May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Keep saying it.
Right.
Woo-hoo.
I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. That's all the business we have for this evening, and Justice Reed wanted to take a few minutes to visit with us. Did you want to visit with us this evening?
To address the court on budget review, committees. Yeah, I asked Tommy if I could share some lessons learned from last year. As you know, budget review is coming up, and that's a fairly intense time for the committee. I think there's 66 different budgets that will be submitted to you. It's my understanding that the judge, and you may know Karen, will probably put a cap on growth. He did last year at 3%. I was kind of pushing for 0% because I wanted county general to build up over a year, but we'll see how that works out. But what I'm recommending to the committee before you start reviewing budgets, get an agreed to set of rules that you're going to review by. We didn't do that, so we were all over the table last year, and it really caused a lot of problems. For instance, if say the judge establishes a 3%, then one of your rules could be that any budget that's not in excess of the cap is automatically passed. Now, there's been some discussion whether or not you should be reviewing line items. Personally, I think you should, but that's a committee decision. But one thing you might do is have a rule that says any particular line item that is over a certain percentage of what was spent last year is subject to review. So for say 20%, if a line item is 20% greater than what was spent, there may be some questions there on why. There's two ways to answer the question. One, you could get the elected official or the department head just to write a justification and attach it to their budget, or come in and explain it. But that's up to the committee whether you want to go that deep. There are times where elected officials or department heads will just grab a number out of the air without any specific study on how they got that number. That's always questionable, and it's always a concern. It was always a concern to me that where did that number come from? And so I just encourage the committee to develop a set of rules that you're going to review by. That way you can publish that to the elected officials, they will have it, and then everybody will be singing from the same hymn. That's my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice.
Going off of what Justice Reed has said, it is nearing budget season, and I believe around this time we were starting last year. And the judge did plan on having a percentage cap on what we increased, but we were waiting on projections from the treasurer's office to see how much we were increasing. But I can guarantee every budget will see an increase because we were nickel and dimed so badly last year in every single aspect that we're struggling this year to pay bills, especially in the road department, because we were supposed to be able to have that 3% increase without questions. But you guys went to the meetings. Previous justices went by line item, cut it severely. So I'm sure there will be an increase. But when you guys are ready, I would like to, sit down with you guys and discuss guidelines for this year. Because there are some suggestions, some changes. The judge and I have sat down and met, and he's on board with this. But of course, it's up to you guys on how we go about this, as you are the budget committee. If you'd like to discuss that tonight, we can. I'm ready. But if you want to, do that at the next meeting, we can. It's up to y'all.
I said in this meeting, that way if we have, it'll give us time to think about any questions that we might have.
And can Judge be here for that meeting?
Yes.
He'd be here for the time.
The judge.
I agree, we did squeeze the turnip quite tightly last year. But one of the things I think that elected officials forget is if their budget becomes deficit, they can come back for additional appropriation. That's always the case. So if you squeeze it tight at the beginning, it's much easier to manage than it is if you're too loose and you have to come back and cut. Opinion.
I just want everyone to be aware of carryover, and what you approve and stuff will eat carryover. So I've already sent like a rough draft of projections to Cheyenne so that they can kind of gauge what their percentage is gonna be. But we do have some funds that have already started eating that carryover. And 3020, which is 911, and our jail fund, which is 3018, we'll probably be having to have money out of county general next year. So I do want you guys to be aware of that.
Does the committee understand the difference between carryover and carry forward? Because that was a big discussion last year. Yes, so I don't need to say any more about that. May I ask one more suggestion? When I did the mid-year review, the first pass, it was horrific. Nothing agreed with the SOP. And I was really concerned about that. Then I realized it wasn't the SOP, it was my book that was wrong. So I borrowed Tommy Dean's book and everything kind of cleaned up. So my recommendation to the committee is schedule your review with enough time to have a final review, a final session where whatever the comptroller has developed, that's what's going to the court, and make sure that's what you agree with. The other recommendation is last year when we made a change, we would make 4, 5, 10 changes in a session. Poor Cheyenne had to go and print all of those and resubmit them to each of the committee members. Look for a way not to do that because it really is a lot of labor. You might want to look at just getting a report, like an SOP report that shows the changes so that you can annotate your own book. And then once the final is done, you will have a fresh, clean book. Is that agreeable?
Yeah, there's different versions we can do. And I don't, that's one of the discussion items is I don't plan on doing 18 books like I did last year. PDFs are going to be a big thing this year, except for committee members. I think hard/working copies are better for note taking, but PDFs are going to be a huge thing for cost, time. I mean, we got questioned on paper last year, so definitely don't want to get questioned on paper again this year. So binders are expensive, paper, PDFs are going to be our go-to, except for committee members and myself, if that's agreeable, just for efficiency issues.
We have no other discussion. I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn. Oh, one more?
Sorry.
Oh, actually,
Sorry. Two more, sorry.
There was a communication about the mid-year budget review. Do you guys want to go over that and see it? Or are we just gonna go through? I thought we were gonna do it last meeting. I guess I was supposed to email it. There was miscommunication there. I have documentations and explanations on the questions that Justice Reed put out. I can email this out. I have paper copies. If you want to discuss it, we can. Most of them, majority of them are court orders that are the differences, which we, for 25 budget, we allowed more leniency on court orders. So that's where the differences are coming from for the majority of it.
Would it be all right if you email them out to us and we could meet with you individually?
Yeah, that works for me.
Or can we discuss it at next month's meeting too?
Mm-hmm.
Even, that way it gives us time to look it over as well.
She has a hard copy.
Yeah, she's got a
She
hard
does have
copy that
hard
we'll
copy.
take.
I have hard copies here.
Hard copies.
You mind? I have
Too
you.
hard.
And I can email them out too.
Yeah, you've already printed it, you don't have to email it.
Okay,
to me.
yeah.
That's double work for you.
Right. Yeah, you haven't printed off.
I don't see no need for you to be double working, you got plenty of work. But now that's double working, you think.
I don't mind, but
This should have.
I can still email it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, I have mine.
Tell me one thing I just recently learned of interest, and Cheyenne and Amber can correct me if I'm remembering it wrong. If an elected official wants to move money within their budget from one line item to another, all it takes is an email to Cheyenne. If they want to move money from one budget to another that they control, a court order can be issued for that.
Say that again?
No, it's wrong on the line item, we have to file it with the clerk.
Okay,
We do a line item, each department can do a line item, and you just put what line item you're moving it from and to, and we take it to the clerk.
okay,
They file it, and then the clerk gives it to Cheyenne, if
Okay.
it's a line item.
Mr. Russo left that step out.
Oh, okay, then if the court order would be used if you're moving it from one grouping to another grouping, or if we have to move it from one budget to another budgeted fund, like that.
But when does an ordinance require?
When it's unappropriated, when it's just money in the fund.
I just learned that, so.
Amber, did you have something else?
Yes,
Okay.
two things. First things first, projections will come out to you guys in the next 2 weeks. And then secondly, I don't have an ordinance for tonight, but there was a ton of legislation passed on district court. So when district court settles their money with the treasurer's office every month, we have certain ways that we divide it up. It's been completely changed. So I don't know the ordinance number off the top of my head, but we have a retained share of the court costs that we get to keep. And that's our AOJ ordinance. We use that to distribute it. Well, that's going away. We get to keep like half of the court costs now for district court. So I'll have to get with the judge and Russo, and we might have to get a sponsor before the next quorum court because it is going to be effective starting this month. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys a warning that might show up at the quorum court meeting.
It's like clustering.
It's what?
It's like clustering.
Oh, it is. It is. The next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be beating my head against the wall.
I'm sorry.
First one's just one. No.
Yes, it's gonna be madness.
May I share one more thing Amber reminded me of? Last year, I took exception to how we projected the 1800 series. You know, I said, well, you know, we defined a percentage of the sales tax, or the 1% of sales tax. Well, we just take that percentage and that would be our projection. Well, it turns out, mea culpa, that Amber finally got it through my thick head. We don't know what sales tax is. That goes to the state. Then the state sends money back to specific funds by some calculation, and I'm certain there's a dead chicken involved. But, that's what she projects on what the state distributed over the last 5 years, not on sales tax. Am I saying that correctly?
Okay, so I have 5 years of history that I look at to do the projections. So instead of taking what was brought in for 2024 and dividing it by the percentages and projecting that way, I look at the past 5 years for 1800. I look at the past 5 years for 1801 and use that and try to be aware of any like ordinances changing the percentages. And that's how I project the sales tax funds. I use the 5 years of history instead of looking at the one lump total that comes for the year. I thought that makes sense.
Yeah, if you take the projection and divide it by the percentage of distribution for each of 1800, 01, 02, 03, you'll get a different estimate for 1% sales tax, because it's not based on 1% sales tax, it's based on what the state gives us. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that was my fault. Mea culpa.
That's all I have.
All right, are we done?
Adjourn.
Well, good, John.
Second.
That's all I have.
Thank you, John.
Good job, John.
Hey,
Well, I'm imagining the temperature's still set at,
I know it's less than from the corn, yeah.
Sub-zero. Yeah, sub-zero.
You should have said.
You were fine.